Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for registering for my tractor design. I can't wait to teach this. It's one of my favorite pieces. And I thought the name was fitting. I called it A Country Song. So I just wanted to demonstrate how you prepare your background. It'll just make our class a lot nicer if you get your background on and then your tractor design. So I'll take you step by step through this. Don't overthink it when you do it. It's not really that hard. Get it on the best you can. If by chance you get it on and you know you're not as happy with it, once it's dry, you can always go back and add in a little bit more color. So just notice I've got my original out that the top left is fairly light. And then as you move over to the right side of the canvas, it becomes slightly darker. And then as you start to move down, definitely a little darker, and then really quite dark at the bottom. So this is all in the notes, but I thought the video would really help you guys to get this on. So the colors that I have squirted out, I have titanium white, light gray, dark gray, a little bit of sap green. If you don't have sap green, even like a pine green with a maybe, you know, a little bit of black in it just to darken it. And I've actually squirted out a little bit of black too. So even if you have pine green, just use a little extra black when we do our brush mix. I have a 1-inch oval brush out. And I just find that this brush is nice because it's oval. It doesn't leave the harsh maybe lines that a flat might. And also keep a mop brush handy because if you get it on and it's a little too streaky for you, then you can always just gently pat and mop and soften out your colors as you need to. So just to explain, so we're going to start with white, move into the light gray, work into the dark gray, and then a little bit of dark gray plus the sap green just in a brush mix. And then also probably a tiny little bit of black in with that brush mix just to get it nice and dark towards the bottom. But just so you know, this is like the first application of color. Once we get our tractor on, after that, we will be going in and we'll be adding some more darks and definitely all this sort of foliage and stuff for the Queen Anne's lace. So get it on the best you can, but it is our first application. So just don't overthink it. So I'm just going to wet my brush. If this is on a 9x12 canvas, if you are working on a large canvas, you may want to use a little bit of extender. You can put a tiny little bit of extender in your paint or just directly on your canvas. But this is a small size. So I find just a little bit of water works good for me. So I know you're not going to see the white, but you will once I get going. And I use a dirty brush as I go throughout my painting. You may find it a little bit easier to stand up, which I'm going to do. And if you hold the brush up a little bit higher on the handle, you can be a little bit looser because we kind of like just loosely pull in an X motion. There we go. It just went out of focus from maybe my light colors. There we go. We're back. Okay. So a little bit of white on my brush. And I'm just going to loosely slap this on my canvas, starting from the top left. I'll use a dirty brush, so I'm just going to pinch wipe my brush and pick up a little bit of light gray. It's easier to pick up little bits of paint at a time and pick up more as you need to than it is to put it on too heavy and struggle and just have it overtake. Also notice that I did not start my light gray right beside my white. It's easier to step it away from your white and then blend it into your white as you need to. So maybe just a little more light gray. I can never paint this the exact same every time, but that's okay. you don't want to, you want one-of-a-kind paintings. So maybe just a little bit of light gray down in here. And then I'll just pinch wipe my brush again. And now I'm going to pick up my dark gray. So in just a little bit of dark gray at a time. And you can see how strong that is. So it's easier to lay your paint a little bit away from your previous color. And that way it's just easier to go back and blend it through. So a little bit of paint at a time, still a little bit dark gray. And if you feel like you have a little too much paint on your brush, just pinch wipe it. And then go back and just gently sweep what's on your surface. I'm slightly pulling my paint up at this point because it's almost suggesting like a little bit of that foliage nice and soft in the background. You could also just gently pat and kind of sweep a little bit with your brush. I feel like a little bit of streakiness in here is good. So my mop brush just picked up some of the paint, so I just gently scrub it off on my paper towel. So now I'm going to pick up a little bit of that green with my gray and start to bring that through. You just want to try to loosely do this so when it's all said and done, it doesn't look like it's a rainbow of colors. You want them to just nice and gently blend. And now I'm going to use my dirty brush and pick up a little bit of black. Watch the black because it can really overtake. Look how beautiful that is already. It almost looks like it is, you know, a little layered with foliage, a little streaky. So still using my dirty brush. If I need to pick up a little more gray and green, I can, and then a little hint of black with that so that I get it nice and fairly dark at the bottom. And I can actually start to give myself a little bit of a visual with a few little suggested sort of grass strokes in here. If you can't get that on, don't worry about it because we are definitely going to play with this a little bit more. So I like what I have on. I might just sort of take a look while it's all still wet, and if I need to pat things out just a little bit here and there. Notice I started to pat at the top because I didn't want to get too carried away with my dark colors in my brush, moving it up. You can kind of sweep with your mop brush a little bit. Okay, so that's it for the background. You can watch the video a couple of times, get it painted. What I'll do after this is I'll just kind of hold my canvas like a little pizza and paint just the edges. And then I will get my tractor design on. I'm going to get the tractor back out because I also tried to make sure you guys had a good idea on where to place your tractor. So get your background on, let it dry. And then you'll see I gave you a guideline along the right and the bottom of where the canvas or where to line this up on your canvas. So it sits a little more to the right of the canvas instead of having it centered. And you can see, you know, there's like a finger and two fingers, maybe 2 fingers here, 1 finger towards the top. And in your pattern, there's a couple little suggested front tires that end up really getting, they're just sort of really faintly painted in there. So that's all you need to do. You'll probably have to use white graphite paper, depending on the top of your sky, maybe, you know, if you have to use gray or whatever. So get your pattern on, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. Okay, bye for now.